Good morning, addicts. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am Recovery Addict, your judge. I'm here today only on special appearance in the matter. It's behind us. Daryl Brooks is behind us. And he's also behind bars and will be, by my count, for over 1,000 years. I did the math in my head, and that's what I came up with. But yes, that was a long, long trial and painful. Oh, it was painful. Judge Darrow hopefully now has a delivery truck arriving this morning to her house with all the gifts, all the flowers, which are probably dead by now, all the gift certificates, all the cards, all the letters of appreciation and encouragement from all over the country and across the world as she achieved her sainthood in one trial. Several times her soul having left her body in frustration at Daryl Brooks's antics. But she was able to revive herself and perform the 3 miracles necessary for sainthood. And now she is just amazing. She is absolutely incredible. Hopefully today, I know she's got some appointments today. Hopefully soon she'll have a little bit of vacation. She'll get a little bit of rest and recuperation. And spend some time reading all the thank yous and admiring the gifts that she's been sent. Good morning, everyone. Morning, addicted, lovely people, says Kimberly. Let me get this on here. There we go. Good morning, all. Good morning, Alexis. I'm sorry and congratulations. But with your comment, good morning, all, exclamation point. It has an exclamation point. I wanted to emphasize that. Most chats don't get exclamation points. But with your exclamation point, you have sealed the purchase of all things IP related, and the internet is now yours. Congratulations. Appreciate you being first here in chat. I'm glad we can offer that to you. You know, I don't know why I was the custodian of the internet to be able to bestow this privilege. But it is my responsibility. As such, I will perform that duty as an unelected official. But congratulations. Please keep the internet safe. If you do rename it, please let us know. So when we look for it, we know what to call it. Welcome, Toxic Ven, Allison, that guy, Abby, hello from the UK. Golden Mom, Ferry, Pauline, Tina, Suzanne, Weatherwatch. Good morning, Weatherwatch. Toxic Orchid, good to have you here this morning. Isabella, Chief Inspector Clasu, good morning from Vero Beach. Good to have you here. Glad you could make it. Sam Terry, and Jay Hughes. We've got the whole crew is filing in. Please take a seat. It doesn't matter which seat. Just take a seat. We're going to start shortly. As a matter of fact, Matthew Terry is in court right now, and the cameras are on. He's sitting at his desk. We'll jump to him just in a minute. As we're waiting for that, I might actually bring up his video so we can see what's happening right here. We don't have audio yet, as is normally the case. He's not sitting quite as straight as he was before. Maybe that's because he's been convicted. But there's still a jury to impress, at least to impress that he has some redeeming value that would justify him not being sent to death row. The only other option for the jury to decide is that he spend the rest of his life in prison. What we're doing today, although the conviction has come in, the verdict has been read, in Florida in a death penalty case, a jury decides if he faces the death penalty. So we have transitioned from the main portion of the case where we determine his guilt is determined, to the sentencing phase. So the jury is now once again hearing testimony. Some of the same witnesses that presented information previously. Sorry, Alexis, I'm going to clear that message. It's good morning all. But some of the same witnesses who spoke to them in the evidentiary portion of the trial are speaking again and providing a little more information. The jury now knows that he was incarcerated for his previous crime. Things of that nature. They're getting a little more a better picture. I have to admit, I was not able to go back and watch everything I wanted to of what happened yesterday, so I'm not sure. I'm not 100% positive that the prosecution has finished their witnesses for this sentencing portion of the trial. So I might need Weather Watch or someone else to. Weather Watch, you tease me. Is there something good out there? I might need some of you to give me a little bit of an update. I'm sort of relying on the judge to give us a little fill-in on the schedule today. We do anticipate today and tomorrow being taken up majority of the time with the defense providing witnesses as to Mr. Terry's redeeming qualities. Now, there's a catch. I'm between a rock and a hard place. Having committed to help volunteer for a little service project here in town, where we're preparing to make food baskets for people in need for Thanksgiving, and that needs to happen today. So I am going to only be here for a couple hours this morning, and then I'm gonna take off up to Salvation Army and help them for a few hours to get that done. We might be back in the evening. But I've also got another commitment tonight, so it might be a short day. Let's see. Stephen Lee says, "I'm still hoping for art of Scott spilling on his laptop," says Ven. Ven to Stephen. I did get more art from Stephen Lee, which I hopefully will be able to share today, if everything goes well. I'm a little bit. Let's use a big word. I'm a little bit discombobulated. It's been a crazy morning, and for some reason the clock has been going a lot faster. I think my clock was set on 2 times speed this morning. So some of you, when you were trying to rush through Daryl Brooks's speech the other day, you might have accidentally changed my time, and time has just gone so fast. I have not been able to do anything I wanted to do, just because I'm going slowly and clock goes fast. Anyway, it's. Matthew, I just got your text. I'm not sure if I can set up what we talked about for this one. I'll take a look at it. Maybe I can. Oh, we'll see. Okay, it might have to be on the next stream, or maybe another day. I'll try. I'll work on it. Matthew, by the way, thank you. I'm not sure if you're in chat or not. I think he was just texting. He might be working this morning. He actually has a real job where he works for real clients in a real courtroom, and we appreciate him taking time out of his day when he's available to come join us here in the Court of Public Opinion and share all his insight and expertise. Stephen Lee says, "I watched last night, and you and your wife both have lovely speaking voices. She is amazing. Everything I do well, it's because of her." Stop saying Alexis, recovery addict. You're making my Alexis speaker go nuts. Oh man, you just gave me an idea. How do I make? Can you tell your AI
defense ready
to order something from eBay? Is that an option? Good morning, Your Honor. Welcome. We're all here. We're ready. Go ahead and start when you're ready. Appreciate it. I actually have my mug of hot chocolate here today. It's the red mug, and it's not completely full because my wife knows that I spill.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it.
We're doing the red cup this morning.
There's a matter that's come up that I kind of messed up on. Remember yesterday when we talked about the introduction of the transcript of Kay Baker in the Michigan trial, and
yes.
We had an argument about that. We had a discussion about that.
Right.
And
I think there was a concession by the state.
The concession by the state is that all we're going to do is establish that Kay Baker testified traveled to Michigan, testified in the trial on behalf of the defendant.
Right.
That's where it was going to end.
Right.
I forgot to remind Mr. Diaz to ask that question of the prosecutor yesterday. So that question, that single question wasn't asked. So now, as I reviewed the record yesterday, although Mr. Diaz presented it in his opening statement, that question was not asked of the prosecutor. So it's left hanging out there. So technically speaking, it's not in evidence. And so I was just trying to see if we can resolve that.
They screwed up.
The prosecutor is still here, can be called to the stand to ask that single question to establish that. And I just wanted to let everyone know about that outstanding issue and see if we can resolve it.
They're like, no, you had the chance.
Their aggravation case. If they failed to ask something that is on them, we would object to them reopening their case in aggravation in the middle of or after our mitigation case.
Any authority? Either way? You want some time? I don't have to decide this right now. We can get rolling with the defense witnesses that are here. The prosecutor going to be here for a while?
She's seated
This is
in
live
the
from this
witness
morning.
room. She's working on her cases from Michigan, so she's
Okay.
happy to sit for a bit.
All right. I appreciate you giving me the heads up. We'll do research. I appreciate any
Okay.
authority.
This
I
is
always like
this is really
authority.
fascinating.
So, defense, you have authority.
If you guys aren't following along, what we're learning is that the prosecution has finished their side of the evidence for the sentencing phase, and the defense has started. And then the prosecution went back and went, oh crap, we forgot to ask a very important question to bring evidence in that we said we were going to bring in and that you had agreed we could bring in. Can we go back? Can you come back to us and let us go again in the middle of defense mitigation?
The pen pack. I checked with the clerk this morning. She says that she does not show it as actually admitted.
Okay.
So Mr. Kane says he's not admitting it.
Okay.
I thought it was admitted. Apparently it is not, so it's not coming into evidence as a physical object. If the record should reflect different in the future, Mr. Kane is now not putting it into evidence if he did previously say admitted, and Your Honor did say it was admitted for the record.
I honestly didn't remember. I mean, there was some stuff that was clear. I do remember the
Okay, this
certificates
is,
and stuff like that, but
This is clerical stuff they're talking about right now. Amy, I did get that. I did watch that interview.
I agree.
It
And the
was
clerk's records will matter, so I defer to
it was insightful. It was very insightful. DB's ex clearly does not want to, right now does not want anything to do with DB in the future. But thank you for linking that to me. I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you answering my questions.
We have Fashion Police have filed a complaint in chat. It looks like whoever's in charge of fashion coordination for the defense needs to be
Can you
fired.
tell us who your first witness is going to be?
Aubrey Lamb.
I'm sorry? Oh, Mr. Land. Aubrey Land. Does he have a title?
Hey, Stephen, if you've got a link that somebody can follow you,
That's
social
what I'm gonna
media,
use.
your preferred link,
That's
whether
the
it's
default.
Instagram or whatever, please go ahead. Feel free to post that in chat. I really, really appreciate all you do to support the channel. Yeah, and Golden Mom, 100%. I'd like to hear that as well. If there's some juicy information in there that we can pick apart, I would love to jump all over that. If that's out there publicly, I'll try to search. Right now, I'm trying to set up something with Matthew,
That'll be perfect.
so my hands are a little bit busy.
All right, jury in report.
Jury is present and seated. Everyone else may be seated at this time. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Nice to see you all. First question, as always, by show of hands. Anyone exposed to anything about this case outside of the courtroom between
Please raise
the
your
time
hand,
you left
everyone.
yesterday and the time you returned this morning?
It was us.
Thank you. Let the record reflect there are no hands. Anyone discuss
Over here.
this
We
case
watched.
amongst themselves or with anyone else?
We did, Your
between
Honor.
The time any time.
Guilty as
discuss
charged.
This case other than deliberations.
Okay,
but
we're just
particularly
deliberating.
since the time you left yesterday and the time you came back this morning. No hands, let the record reflect. And finally, anybody do any research related to this case by show of hands? Again, thank you very much. Let the record reflect there are no hands. We're going to pick up where we left off, and I'm going to turn to the defense and ask them to please call their next witness. Aubrey Land. Mr. Land, good morning. Welcome. Wherever you're comfortable, if you'll face me and raise your right hand, please. Thank you. Do you swear or affirm any testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I think the judge says wherever
Thank
you're
you, sir.
comfortable because he wants them to stand back.
Up to the
So he
witness
tells
here.
them as
Please
soon as they
watch your
cross
step.
that little threshold, he's like, wherever you're comfortable, just stop.
Go ahead, have a seat in that
Don't
chair.
get any
Make
closer.
yourself comfortable. There is a microphone there. It's fully adjustable, and the green light is on. So it
Yes, this
all
is
ready.
Colonel
You
Sanders.
let me know when you're ready,
I think
and I'm going to turn it over to the
that's what they
attorney
said.
to
They
ask you
called
some
Colonel
questions.
Sanders to the stand.
All right, Mr. Kane, you may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Mr. Land.
Good morning, sir.
Could you identify yourself?
My name is Aubrey Perry Land, Sr.
I love this accent. We're going to crank him up a little bit.
I am a retired corrections and law enforcement professional. I am now doing private work in sentencing cases involving inmates and issues of that nature as a consultant.
All right. I might ask you to speak up a little bit. I know the microphone amplifies, and we just want to make sure everybody can hear you okay. So,
And I apologize in advance, a little difference in elevation and seasonal allergies as well. So
all right.
Where's he
You
from?
also
Where's that
advise-
accent from?
Can you tell
Matthew,
us
is
a little
that from
bit
your
about
neck of the
history
woods?
Work experience and how you came to the profession you are now in.
well, I did 33 years of law enforcement and corrections, about 50-50 each. Started off in corrections and ended my career in corrections. Worked as a corrections officer, correctional officer sergeant, patrol officer, detective, homicide investigator, narcotics investigator. Last 10 years of my career, I served with the Florida Department of Corrections Office of the Inspector General as a senior law enforcement.
Thanks for that update, Charlie.
inspector.
Appreciate the correction. I haven't seen that myself, but
In that
thank you
capacity.
for posting that.
Pretty much so worked every facet of the Florida Department of Corrections, either investigating it, being directly involved in certain programs and things of that nature.
About how many different facilities have you worked in?
Most all of them, in some fashion or another, whether it was going in, doing investigations and interviews and things of that nature, or reviews of the facility.
Have you had interactions with wardens and assistant wardens of these facilities?
Most every facility,
You've had inmate or prisoner interactions?
thousands.
Have you also become familiar with jail facilities?
Yes, sir, I have.
What's the difference between a jail and a prison?
Well, in most cases, a jail is, pretrial. There may be some inmates that are, sentenced to a misdemeanor offense for a period of time in there. The state-run facilities are mainly for convicted people who have been convicted of felonies. Their housing assignment is somewhat different. Classification of the inmates to determine where they fit in at best, their work assignments and things of this nature.
If I heard you correctly, you have about 33 years of experience in corrections.
Correct, yes.
And about how many prison facilities have you worked in or become familiar with?
Directly assigned to probably somewhere around 10. As far as worked in, 25 or so.
You've testified in courts of law before?
Many times.
Have you testified in your capacity as a law enforcement officer?
Yes, sir, I would say hundreds of times.
About how many times have you testified in your capacity as a corrections consultant or expert in the field of corrections?
In this environment, I would say probably, I'd have to go back and look, but probably around 25 times.
Tender the witness.
No question.
You're often called upon by various parties. I don't know if you've ever been called by the state. I don't know if obviously you've been called by the defense.
Those
before.
pinstripes
Here you are
need to go.
today
They're not working
to
for
offer
me.
expert testimony about a particular person and that person's amenability to the prison environment. Does that sound accurate?
That is accurate.
And how many state courts have you testified in?
Well, here in the 13th, probably 5 or 6 times, maybe as many as 7. West Palm Beach. Volusia
Seems like that
County,
number he should be able
Duval
to
County,
name definitively. Maybe 7.
the First Judicial Circuit.
How about different states?
Sir,
How about different states?
the state of Alaska.
On a fishing trip?
Different countries?
Actually, I haven't testified. I have worked some cases in other countries.
When you're called upon by the defense, for instance, when you're called upon by the defense to offer an opinion about somebody's amenability to the prison environment or corrections, do you always offer a favorable opinion?
No, I have been retained on several cases, and when I do the analysis of that person's time in custody, review their behavioral records, I can't offer a positive testimony for that person.
You talked about the word analysis here. You mentioned a review of various records. When you're looking at a particular person and how you believe, as an expert, they might respond to a prison environment, what are some of the things that you look at? What are some of the criteria you may consider in that process?
Well, there are many things to consider, especially in the classification of where that person would fit in. A lot of it would be their overall behavior, whether they have complied with the rules and regulations of the jail setting that they may be in, prior committals into a facility, what their educational background is, their willingness to want to work, and different things of that nature.
Tell us about the classification system in the prison environment.
Well, as an inmate is received into the Florida Department of Corrections, one of the very first things that will happen with them is we will do a classification review of that individual. One of the things will be the sentence itself, whether it be a life in prison sentence, a death penalty sentence. Things of that nature is going to determine where that person goes to. And then the classification goes much further than that. We have to determine a security level for that individual. Let's say if they are serving a sentence of 25 years, where would they best fit in at within our system? Well, that individual would be a higher risk inmate, so he's going to be a close custody to maximum custody inmate. We're going to take into consideration his jail record. We're going to take in consideration whether he has complied with the rules or not. And then we're also going to look at his education level and his professional work history to determine the housing of that individual.
Have you met with Mr. Terry?
I have.
How many times have you met with him?
I met with him once, and that was back on October the 12th. I sat down with him for about 2 hours.
What records have you reviewed, or what documents have you reviewed in this case?
Well, I have reviewed a little bit of his military history, his release from the military. I've reviewed somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 pages of documents, previous submittal in another state, and his jail records for here in Hillsborough County.
And were you also provided college transcripts?
Yes, I was.
Now, when you mentioned that you have interviewed or
Talked to him for 2 hours, read his
spoken
military
to,
history,
thousands
checked his
of
grades in
inmates,
college.
right?
Yes, sir.
And about how
And
long
now,
would
based
you
on
say,
his
just in your
expertise,
experience,
he's
how
gonna
long would
determine.
you say it takes you to pretty much size somebody up and know
Well, he's
whether
probably
or
a
not
great judge of character, too.
they're going to be a problem or whether or not they're going to be less of a problem? How long would you say it takes you to do that?
Well, the initial review of that, you have to do it pretty quickly because we do process so many different people. We talk to so many different people. So we have to kind of sum a person up pretty quickly. But then, it's not just what we come across with our impressions of that individual, how that person communicates with us. We also have to go back and do a document search on that, kind of verify. It's trust but verify. Sometimes people just don't have good communication skills, and you have to dig a little deeper. Some people have excellent communication skills, so it's an individual basis, but we do that rather quickly, but then we verify.
So when you met with Mr. Terry, you had your initial impressions, right?
Correct.
And then after a couple of hours, you had further impressions of him, correct?
That would be correct.
All right. Now, was anything proven or disproven by your document search?
Well, the biggest thing was explaining my opportunity to sit down with Mr. Terry. Is he has excellent communication skills. Was very open about anything that I wanted to talk to him about. Straightforward. I didn't get the impression that he was trying to withhold any type of information from me. The documents that I had reviewed revealed that he was being honest with me about the information that he provided to me.
Were you at all familiar with the facts of the case?
I know some of the facts of the case. In my line of work, knowing everything that a person has done is not necessarily important. I need to know some of it.
It would be funny if this guy
But
just says,
details,
I just look at their aura,
no,
and I can tell if they're a good or a
I
bad
didn't
person.
know all the details of it. I still don't know all the details of it. I know that he's charged with one count of premeditated murder.
It's not charged, convicted
I
of.
have looked it up online and saw a little bit of that information, but all the details, no, I do not know all of them.
No. To what extent does what a person's been convicted of inform a DOC professional on how that person can be expected to conduct themselves in prison? So you have, let's say you have somebody convicted of drug dealing, and then you have somebody convicted of murder. Can you tell just from those charges alone who is going to be the better inmate?
Not always, but as a pretty well rule, inmates who are charged with homicides are less likely to cause a problem for correctional staff than someone who is convicted of a drug crime. Because one of the things that we
Really?
have in prison is an influx of contraband and drugs coming in at an alarming rate. So many times a person that is addicted to illicit drugs and things of that nature, they will continue to violate those rules in the prison system, where a person that got mad and committed a violent crime, that may just be a one-time incident with that individual, and we don't have that outburst in our system. We just basically house them for the period of time that the court tells us to keep them.
You're aware that Mr. Terry also served a sentence in the Michigan Department of Corrections
That is correct.
for
So this guy's basically saying,
an offense
yeah, he's a
against
bad
woman
man
that
out of
involved a
prison,
knife.
but in prison he's really
That
good.
is correct.
And this case involves an offense against a woman involving a knife.
That is correct.
Is that any sort of concern for DOC, the fact that he has a repeated offense of a similar nature?
The offense is not something that is concerning.
Really?
His custody level will be maximum security. Let's just, I need to give you an analogy. If he is sentenced to a life in prison, he is going to be a maximum custody inmate. He is going to be assigned to a maximum custody housing unit. That is where we are going to do more thorough searches. We are going to monitor him more closely. His movement around the prisons and things of that nature would be more closely monitored than someone that is serving a 5-year sentence for grand theft.
Talk to us a little bit about the distinctions when it comes to employment requirements for somebody serving a life sentence versus somebody on death row.
Well, if I understand the question correctly, if a person comes into death row, it doesn't matter what his work habits are, what his educational level is, or anything of that nature, because we're not going to employ him.
All right, so the distinction is that death row inmates do not work.
That is correct.
And tell us about what the work requirements are for somebody serving a life sentence, even in maximum security.
Every inmate in the Florida Department of Corrections has a job. That job could be sweeping shadows off the sidewalk, or it could be cleaning a housing unit. It could be.
Did he say sweeping shadows off the sidewalk?
A cook.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Washing dishes, washing laundry. Just according to
Good morning,
where
Alyssa.
that person fits in. And
Hello,
then
South
you
Africa.
also have people that are incarcerated have very high IQ. They have a good work record coming in. They have professional skills that can be utilized by the prison system.
Where does Mr. Terry fit in all that?
In the latter end of it, he is educated. He has I believe, a bachelor's.
If your job as a prisoner is to sweep shadows off the sidewalk, how can you tell if you're doing a good job or not?
He has excellent skills that in today's Department of Corrections would be very sought after.
What is the benefit of somebody who is a software engineer with a computer engineering degree? Where might they find a place in DOC in terms of employment?
Well, I'll give you an example. It's like all of the tolls that are collected throughout the state of Florida. That is most
Clearly,
all
he's
that
mad
is
about paying a
entered
toll
by
driving
inmate,
down here.
Labor.
Every time someone goes through a toll and it reads a toll on any sort of expressway, then that transaction goes to the desktop of an inmate?
That would be correct.
And
That's why I
how
get
does that-
charged
how does that
twice.
work? What are they doing, and how is that information processed?
Well, to sit down and tell you everything about how it happens, I don't. But I know that the pride industry, prison pride industry, they have, my understanding, the contract on doing that. And then they have inmates working in that program to where they're actually entering it and through the computer system.
Now, Mr. Terry's skills as a software engineer go beyond simply data entry. So how might those skills be brought, and to what benefit might that be to DOC?
Well, one of the things that I didn't really get a chance to sit down and talk to him about, and I intended to come back and see him a second time,
But I'll testify
if
about
you're
it
going
anyway.
to do a resume, because that would be information that would be very important to a classification officer when he comes in. Now, they would enter that information into
Where did they
the
find this guy?
CDC, program at the facility, and then Pride is going to see that. So if he was sentenced to a life in prison, I would fully expect that Pride would know that really quickly. They would seek him out, whether placing him in the actual Pride unit where that type of data is collected and billed out, or whether it would be to train other people how to do that. So his skill set would be in very high demand.
Where there is not somebody with a skill set within DOC to fill that position, what is DOC's alternative?
It would be to hire a private individual to do that.
How much do DOC inmates make when they work?
It's been a little while since I talked to Pride, but the last that I heard, I think, was 75 cents an hour.
Which comes out to about what? Per
Well,
year?
the normal hours that they get to work, somewhere around $900 a year.
$900 a year.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Would a software engineer cost more than that?
Nope, that's the going rate. That's the going rate. $900 a year for a college graduate software engineer.
So what happens if an inmate goes on strike and decides not to work?
Then nobody gets a traffic ticket, right?
Well, you can refuse to work. You're going to go to confinement. You're going to lose any privileges that you may have. You're going to lose anything that you have worked up to, say, a good job. If you are working at Pride, you get a disciplinary report, you lose that $75 a month that you make, and
Okay, so
you're sitting in confinement.
this is the sentencing phase of the trial. That guy. What they're
Is that
trying to
otherwise
do,
known
what
as
the
post-management?
what the defense is presenting here, because this is a defense witness, they're trying to say Matthew Terry has redeeming qualities. There are mitigating circumstances. There's information the jury needs to know, so instead that they can consider, instead of saying he deserves the death penalty, say, well, if we keep him alive, he would actually be able to give back to society in the following ways. So this gentleman is an expert in testifying about the ways that prisoners are able to help society, and he's basically saying because of Matthew Terry's education, because of his background in computer engineering, he would be extremely useful, who could save the state a lot of money, and he would be a model citizen inside in the inmate population, because he only commits the crimes outside of jail, outside of prison. He's been really good in prison. Apparently, when armed guards are or not always armed, but when guards are watching him, he doesn't commit as many crimes. So that's where we're at right now. We're trying to. The jury is hearing this, and they're just going to weigh that in their decision making for his sentence.
To give you an example of an inmate who is serving a life in prison sentence, that person is going to be in a two-man cell, a secure type cell. They will be locked in at 11 o'clock at night. They will be unlocked and free to move around, or somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 o'clock in the morning. They will go to and from chow. They will go to and from work. If they have a medical call out or something of that nature, they will go to medical. An inmate that has been placed in disciplinary confinement or to see him, they will be in that cell 23 hours a day. They will be escorted anywhere that they go. They will not have any luxuries in there.
Sounds very close to what a death row inmate has to endure.
Well, to a degree, single cell with it's just one person. They have their own TV. They have a iPad. They have access to their canteen. They have access to general population. The new protocols in death row is kind of like general population. They have certain amount of hours a day to mingle about the unit, watch TV with some of their friends, play board games, and have other recreation area.
If I'm hearing you correctly, none of that involves employment.
None.
All right. Sorry, talking to Mrs. Recovery Addict there, trying to schedule our commitment for this afternoon. The family's going to go up and do a little help with the Salvation Army for preparing for their Thanksgiving.
In some ways, it might be more pleasant than
Activities.
somebody who is in confinement serving a life sentence.
Okay, I had a question earlier
Correct.
that I skipped because I was looking for the information. Someone was asking what is the next case that we had talked about regarding Judge Darrow, and she has a case that we are going to follow.
In your review of the records
My
from,
suggestion actually is
Michigan
to
Department of Corrections, did you
look in
see
chat
any-
because in just a moment someone's going to
any
post a link
disciplinary
to the
infractions or
Discord
disciplinary,
as the gavel drops
measures taken
Discord,
against
which
Mr.
is
Terry.
sort of managed by.
In your review of
By
the
Toxic
Philadelphia County
Toxic
Jail,
Orchid
did you see
and
any
Miss
disciplinary
Little
action
Miss.
taken against
This
Mr.
is a Discord page that has all the data about when trials are happening, documents from trial, statuses, calendaring, and that has that information. The case specifically is known as the death by eye drops case. This is a Jesse Kursuski. Was that how we decided to pronounce that? Jessy, and the last name is, it looks sort of Russian. Kurczewski. And that trial is going to be in Judge Dorrow's courtroom. And it's going to be in January is when I believe the jury selection starts, as it's currently scheduled. So hopefully that answers that question here.
The Department of Correction has in a newly arrived inmate is getting them to understand that we have policies and procedures, rules and direction, and you're going to have to follow those. The military has kind of taken care of that in Mr. Terry's case. So he has done considerably well.
So
In your
apparently he's
opinion,
really good at following orders. So when people tell him to stop
what is
stabbing
Mr.
someone,
Terry's
he does.
availability?
He stops right then.
A life sentence.
I don't know how well he would sit down and adjust to it. I mean, that's an individual basis, but can he benefit?
We've got plenty to talk about, Crafty.
Yes. Can he live in an open population setting? I believe so, with no problem. He has proved that previously. He has not caused any problem in the jail where he's at now.
I love how this guy adjusted the microphone for him and then proceeded to lean back as far as he can and to the side so we cannot hear a thing he says.
Understanding, so I believe that he will fit in an open population rather well.
And based on your review of the records, you would have no concerns about his conduct.
No, sir.
Did anybody find the phone call information after
When you
the
sat down
conviction
and
for
spoke
Matthew
to him,
Terry
was he
and his dad?
Very.
I missed
very
that.
open about anything that I asked him about, and I want to say this: I never talked to someone in that situation about the crime that they are accused of having committed. But sitting down, talking to them about family, talking to them about education, talking to them about what type of job that they do. Trying to determine if they get along with other individuals. That's pretty much in mind.
Was Mr. Terry in any way hostile?
No, he was very open, very pleasant.
For 2 hours, he was a good guy
Talk about anything that I asked him
while in
about.
custody, and he asked him questions. So clearly, he does not deserve the death
course he
penalty.
doesn't.
That's what I'm getting out of this witness testimony.
Pass the witness.
Ross?
Good morning, Mr. Lamb.
Good morning,
What
sir.
are the 11 spices?
I want to ask you a question. You said that the military has already sort of predisposed Mr. Terry to follow the rules.
To a setting of a prison type setting or jail type setting.
So his military
indicate
service
that
prepared him for jail? Is that what he's
He
saying?
understands that we run it and we're going to run it our way.
All right, well, let's talk about the rules that he's been predisposed to follow. The rules that he's been predisposed to follow are don't break the rules, right?
I would agree with you.
Don't hit other people, don't hurt other people, don't do things that cause harm to other people. That's one of the rules, right?
I would agree with that.
I mean, even when he went to prison, that was still a rule. That's not just a Marine rule. The default rule in prison is don't hit and punch and kill and try to harm other people, right?
We have that rule, yes, sir.
So for a man who's already been to the military, for a man who's already been to prison, did he follow the rules?
I would assume me sitting in this situation testifying here today that the determination has been made that he was not following the rule.
Right, the determination has been made. He did not follow the rule. The first rule, don't kill other people. He didn't follow that rule, right?
That would be my understanding.
Okay, and he did that after having served a prison sentence.
That is my understanding.
So he got a real taste of what it's like, right?
I would agree with that.
Okay. So let's talk about where you talk about how he is, an attractive or valuable potential asset to the Department of Corrections. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I believe I do. That my opinion is that he would benefit the Department of Corrections.
And I'm not going to
It's
dispute
getting really
that.
quiet here.
I'm certainly not going to dispute that. I'm sure that any person that could help the state of Florida manage its affairs is always going to be useful to the state of Florida. Okay? But I want to ask you a question. He's useful to the state of Florida because he's educated, right?
Well, he has a skill set.
He has a skill set that he got because he's educated, right?
Correct.
And he's educated because he came from a good family who could provide for him, right?
I would agree with that.
Okay. So if he had come from a bad family and he had a rough childhood and he'd never been educated, he'd be less of an asset to the state of Florida, and therefore are you suggesting he's more deserving of death? We should let the privileged live and we should let the underprivileged die?
That
Objection,
is,
that was not his testimony.
Well, you can answer the question. I'll overrule the objection.
I would have to disagree with you on that. I have testified in many, many cases of this nature to where I have seen young men who came to prison with no education, 14 years of age, sentenced to a life imprisonment, and that kid didn't really stand a chance for anything. And they applied themselves in prison. They
Just gonna rip
learned
this one apart.
trades. One in West Palm Beach, for example.
And let me just, I don't want to interrupt you.
If I may, you asked a question, may I finish?
I understand. Sure, no, you can finish. Please do.
Okay. But, that young kid, 14-year-old young black male, he could have went any way that he chose to go. And he decided to get an education in prison. He decided to be a model inmate. He chose to write the judge who sentenced him to life and actually become pen pals with that judge, keeping him up to date on what he was doing, the education level that he was getting, the positive things that he was doing. And to my surprise, at that resentencing hearing, that retired senior court judge walked into court and testified for that young man. So I would not say that I would sit here and indicate that a young man that had the opportunity to get a good education is more useful than someone who is less fortunate. And what I would further offer in that is the Secretary of the Florida Department of Corrections, who I have a tremendous respect for is trying to utilize as many inmates who can to help move people into that direction, give them the opportunity that they may not have gotten on the street, they didn't get in school, or they dropped out of school. And today, we're trying to reduce the recidivism rate in the Florida Department of Corrections. We're giving education to our inmates. We're giving them real life skills. We're teaching them job skills. And when they get out of prison, they're able to actually get a decent job, become a productive citizen, earn a living. Those are the things that we want to see happen to the inmate population in the Florida Department.
Okay, but that's never going to happen here. Mr. Terry's never going to get back out. This is not a question of recidivism.
We're not talking about Mr. Terry getting back out.
I got it.
We should
But,
be.
I mean, that's what we are ultimately talking about. We're here to talk about Mr. Terry. So this is not a situation where Mr. Terry is going to become a success story and get back out into the world and get a job and become a productive citizen. That's not we know that that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Okay. And you talk about the word opportunity, and you really said something great when you were talking about this kid that turned his life around, this 14-year-old kid. You said he made a choice to turn his life around, right?
That is absolutely correct.
Because the whole point of prison is to teach people that what you do has consequences, and you can make a choice to turn your life around after prison if you want to. Right?
That is absolutely correct, and I'd like to expand upon that if I may.
Well,
Nope.
Sorry, but I want to ask you some questions, okay?
Objection. Allow him to answer.
Question. It ended with right. It called for a yes or a no answer, so overruled as the objection.
Mr. Terry had that opportunity. That time came. It came somewhere in late 2021 when he was completely released from the Department of Corrections in Michigan, right?
That is my understanding, yes, sir.
And 5 months later, 6 months later, he didn't turn it around, did he?
I can't say he has turned things around.
Well, I mean,
and that's not what I'm testifying here to today.
All right.
You know, we're talking about whether he's going to death row or if he's going to life in prison.
Thank you for saying that, because that's the next line of question I want to ask you. You talked about people on death row. And I think most people think that death row means you sit in a jail cell all by yourself or a prison cell all by yourself all day long.
Objection. Is there a question? Doesn't matter what the state attorney thinks.
Well, rephrase it.
Did you say that people on death row get a TV?
They have their own TV.
And an iPad?
Yes,
And they're given time to get out of their jail cell and mingle?
that is correct.
And they're allowed to play board games?
Correct.
And I'm assuming they're allowed to go outside and see the sun?
Correct.
I mean, it's not like you sit in your jail cell 24 hours a day, you never talk to anybody, you never interact with another human being, is it?
No.
It's not like you have nothing to do all day long, right?
Correct.
If you're not on death row, what you actually have is you have more freedom. You just have more time to be out, more time to walk around, more people to talk to, right?
Plus, you have a job that you're required to do each day.
I mean, people on death row have a job to do each day, right? Behave. Be good. Don't get in
Well-
trouble. Because there are still consequences if you misbehave on death row, right? It's not like the people on death row can just do whatever they want, is it?
No, you can have your privileges taken away from you on death row as well.
I'm ready with the questions, Your Honor. Thank you. Read it right.
Mr. Diaz, over our objection, was permitted to ask you about deserving. All right, he was suggesting that your testimony was trying to give a message to the jury that somebody who comes from a privileged background or is educated is less deserving of death row than somebody who does not have an education and does not come from a privileged background. So my question to you, Mr. Land, is, because you were asked about the word deserving, do you think anyone is deserving of the death penalty?
Objection calls for an opinion, a personal opinion, not an expert opinion.
He opened the door, Judge.
Hold on. No, I don't think he opened the door. I'm going to sustain the objection.
Well, do you believe that Mr. Terry is less deserving of the death penalty?
Objection calls for personal opinion, not an expert opinion.
Wait till he finishes the question, but it certainly sounds like it. Do you want to finish the question without asking for a personal opinion of the witness?
In your expert opinion, Mr. Land, do you believe anyone is deserving of the death penalty?
Objection, Your Honor, that's a personal opinion. It's not what he's qualified here as an expert on.
Mr. Judge,
Hold on. Approach.
sure.
Oh man, good stuff. Good stuff here. Okay, couple things. Debbie, I think I got your email. I did get your text about your email. I haven't read your email yet. Matthew Harris is still not working. I'm trying to link this this video up, and I think it might be because I started this video before the permissions were changed on your end. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get it working for this one, but we'll get it for the next one for sure. This is this witness. He spent a lot of time on credibility, which really just said basically I've worked in jails and mostly I just get paid to testify. But I don't think he really scored many points. But then what was the prosecution saying about the iPads and the TV and everything on death row? Because the jury's going to listen to that and say, hang on, they get that on death row? I don't want him to have that. They might think for some reason that life in prison doesn't include that. So I don't know. We'll have to see where they go with that. Let's see. Max says way behind. Thought they were out on life or death. The jury's not out yet. The prosecution has finished their side of evidence for the sentencing consideration, and now the defense is presenting mitigating evidence, reasons to go for life instead of death. This is one of their witnesses. I haven't heard the ones yesterday, but this is one of the witnesses. He's an expert in the corrections field, talking about how people can be beneficial to society while serving in prison in a life sentence. Crafty Cow says, "Recovery addict, please time out Stephen because he's on about hairy toes again." Sorry, Stephen is that's the real Stephen. You get the whole deal. Did not give a shout out to JB yet. JB up in Canada, hello. Hopefully you're staying warm. It's cool down here, which means I'm guessing it's freezing up there. Hope you're enjoying the live streams today and every day. One day we'll get you figured out so you can get you in chat. Ann says, recovery addict, when do you leave? Do we have to go to a different stream to watch Afternoon Court? Yes, unfortunately. Through fair use, I can't just leave someone else's channel up on my channel and not provide additional insight and commentary.
Earlier about whether or not you believed one person who comes from one background
I'll answer that in just a second.
More or less deserving of the death penalty than somebody who comes from another type of background. Remember him asking you that question?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to allow you to follow up and offer your expert opinion about whether or not you believe anyone is deserving of the death penalty.
I don't know if a person would be deserving of a death penalty or not. I don't know that I can really wrap my head around that, but what I can say is I disagree with the death penalty, and for this reason.
So he would say no one's deserving of the death penalty.
I have many friends who have worked on death row. I've had friends who were wardens that carried out executions. A very good friend of mine, Ron McAndrew.
Judge,
I'm going to object.
I'm going to sustain. He's answered the question. I'm going to sustain.
And so through personal experience and seeing things firsthand, you have developed your view of that alternative.
Correct.
Thank you. So now in reviewing, also I think you also mentioned on cross-examination that an example of redemption that had come from an inmate getting an education and then going on to improve himself, correct?
Yeah, that story about the inmate getting the education doesn't really apply here because we have to decide Matthew Terry's fate before he gets to serve time and turn his life around in prison. It has to be decided on the front end, so we can't say, hey, put him in life in prison, he might be good. The decision has to be made prior to that.
Correct.
Don't know. I don't think Judge Darrow has a case today. I thought she had a professional engagement, if I remember correctly, Debbie. But not sure about that. Generally, these witnesses are paid by an appearance fee and probably by the hour that they testify. So maybe like a flat rate for, calling and for their services, and then plus time spent.
Kind of know what directions that we're going in, and that is what we do. We utilize inmate labor, inmate mentors, inmate educators to help us to train inmates who will be released. And the question was asked to me a few minutes ago, Mr. Terry is never going to get out, very probably. How is he going to benefit? Well, I don't know that he does benefit, but I know that he could probably benefit others with his education.
Now, when you say there was some vagueness there, if he is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole,
He ain't going nowhere.
it's not getting out.
No.
That's decided.
The only way he gets out is living vicariously through someone that gets out ahead of him.
But he's going to be in that
He's
prison
going to die in
for the rest
prison
of
his life.
Right. You understand with life without the possibility of parole. Have you ever seen somebody sentenced to life without the possibility of parole?
EOS,
Is there an end of sentence?
there is no end of sentence unless the court changes that sentence.
Okay. Now, obviously the purposes of incarceration for somebody who is serving a 5-year sentence on a driving while license suspended, or serving a 5-year sentence on drug dealing or theft, stealing a car, are quite different than the purposes of incarceration for somebody serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Life without the possibility of parole is severe punishment, correct?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, thank you.
May this witness be released by the defense
Okay, so going back.
and by the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir. You may step down. You may be released as a witness at this time.
Going back to this question right here, I've got to be out of here I've got to be on the road in 2
I'll ask the
hours,
defense
so
to
I'll
please
probably
call
have
you
about
next
an hour and 15 minutes left here.
Yes, absolutely.
I was trying to get a redirect over to Matthew Harris. Well, wasn't that a great slip, Matthew? Sorry about that. Matthew Harris's channel, because there's a video I'd like to share with you guys, and I'll get that lined up for a different stream. But let's see. Yes, Terry, if you want to order a mug, Abby put in chat a link. Right now, it's only available through an eBay storefront, but hopefully, I'll be able to find a little better and easier system to do it than eBay. But hopefully that works for you. And thanks to everyone who's ordered mugs.
Defense call Steve Glassner.
It'd be
Mr.
awesome
Glassner,
to have the
good
judge
morning
as
and welcome,
guest.
sir.
Morning.
He'll come forward to be sworn as a witness. You can wherever you're comfortable, if you'll face me and raise your right hand, please. Thank you. You swear affirm any testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. If you'll follow the bailiff down to the ramp that leads up to the witness chair, please watch your step. Go ahead, have a seat in that chair. Make yourself comfortable. The microphone in front of you is fully adjustable. You let me know when you're ready, and then I'll allow the attorneys an opportunity to ask you some questions. You might have to get closer to the microphone.
Ready.
All right. You may proceed, Mr. Kane.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Davey, I'm going to go help out at the Salvation Army
Sorry.
with my family. Just like to help out around the holidays.
Good morning, Mr. Glassner.
Morning.
Can you sit a little bit closer to the microphone for me?
Okay.
please? Thank you. Your name?
Steve Glassner.
Okay. All right, Mr. Glassner, I know you're a little bit nervous, right?
Oh, yes.
All right. Well,
You should be.
as best you can, just pretend that you and I are sitting in the kitchen. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Not the bloody kitchen from the trial,
And if
but a
there's
different
anything
kitchen.
that I ask you that you don't understand, or you need some time to think, just say so.
Okay.
All right? Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
We don't know who he
Where
is
are you
yet.
from?
Holton, Michigan.
He's not there as an expert
And
witness.
how about your career?
I was an analytical technician, dealt with quantitative, qualitative analysis, and then I became a millwright.
Wow.
Over 50 years of working.
A millwright
You're
after
retired now?
being an IT dude.
And
Or
you
a
live on
numbers guy.
Big Blue Lake.
Yes, I do.
Where is that in Michigan compared to, say, East Lansing?
If you know, along Lake Michigan, White Lake, it's about maybe 15 minutes east of that, going east.
I'd love him to give, like, you head down to the
Yeah, we
big
also-
pine,
sometimes we
and you
hear
turn
about the
left,
Upper
and
Peninsula,
then go
right?
over the bridge.
Yeah.
And so Holton, Michigan is sort of on its way up to the Upper Peninsula?
No, it's not.
Not on the
It's
way up
just
there?
just a little place.
Okay.
It's spelled Holton.
Golden Mom,
If you're
he's
going
super
from,
nervous.
say, East
This is
Lansing,
probably the first time he's ever been in a court
more
setting, and it's a
southern
big one.
central part, and you're going to go up to the Upper Peninsula, you pretty
We're
much
gonna
go
go
through
north.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you guys have lived up there for a long time, haven't you?
Since 1986.
And you guys built your home there?
Yes, we had a house built.
At some point, you guys met the Terry family, right?
Right.
Tell us about that.
I think it's more a
Uh,
deer in the headlight
When we moved
type
out
look.
there, our children are about the same age, so they wrote.
Do you know Matthew Terry?
Yes.
There's some tissue there.
There should be, yes. You need a water? If you
No.
need a water, you let me know.
But anyway, they met on a school bus. And then, well, we live on the lake. So then they got together. So,
I wonder if the prosecution will
You
ask,
see Matt?
did he kill any of your children?
no, I don't.
Matthew?
No, I do. Yes.
Okay. All right.
This is it sounds like it's a neighbor from up in Michigan when he was younger.
How long have you known Matthew?
Over 30 years.
You said that you guys met because, Matt sort of became friends with Johnny.
Right.
And about how many years were Matt and Johnny friends?
Oh, probably at least 20 years.
And Johnny is your son?
Yes.
And you also met the rest of the Terry family?
Oh, yes.
At some point, I guess the Terry family had a house right on Big Blue Lake.
Right.
You
Yes.
guys lived right next to each other?
Probably about half a mile down the lake.
Right. If you walk out your pier, you can see their
Yes.
property line
You can see it.
across the lake, right?
Right.
And about how often would you encounter the Terry brothers or Matthew? How often in your in your life?
Every day for at least 4 years. And then they moved back to Lansing.
When they moved back to Lansing, Matt was a little bit older.
Yes. Yes.
Now, did Matt and Johnny continue to be friends?
Oh, yeah.
Something happened in 2010, 2011.
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened?
My son passed away.
Now, in going through that, obviously there were services for Johnny.
Yes.
Can you tell us how Matt played a part in that?
Matt eulogized my son's funeral. He talked about him.
Why would you ask Matt to do that?
His friend.
What kind of friends?
Good friend.
Do you think that Johnny's memory was well served with Matt's words?
Really.
So we should keep him around to eulogize people?
What kind of person does a man have to be in order for you to ask him to send your son off with those words? What kind of man do you think Matt was to do that?
Respect, a lot of respect for him.
So he's a numbers guy.
So close to get everything.
He's a very detail-oriented person, apparently.
You know, everything, you know. All the activities on the lake, skiing, kneeboarding, ice fishing, hockey.
Yeah, he got my
you know,
attention on
just
ice fishing.
Did everything.
Now, obviously, Matt's been facing some challenges at the moment. He's facing a conviction and he's facing a sentencing proceeding, and you're aware of that. Now, what is your view of Matt?
He's like a son to me, is what he's going to say.
My friend.
Oh, close. This is humanizing Matt
Has
in
anything
the eyes
changed?
of the jury.
No.
Thanks, Tag. Appreciate you being here.
He's pretty much known Matt for most of his life.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how long you guys go without seeing each other. Does that in any way change how you feel about him?
No.
Katrina, I see where you're going here.
Thank you, Mr. Voss.
Thank you.
It would be nice if the prosecution didn't cross-examine this guy.
Mr. Glasser, are you nervous?
Very.
Okay. You don't need to be nervous. I promise I'm not going to ask you anything tough, okay? I'm going to ask you some pretty common sense questions. Was it hard to lose a child?
That's a hard.
Very.
That's
Is it
a
hard to live every day with the loss of a child?
Yes.
Is it hard to lose a child unexpectedly?
Very.
You live on the Big Blue Lake.
Yes.
I had the good fortune to go up to Michigan a few weeks ago. It's a lovely place. And I imagine where you are, it's even prettier. You get to see the leaves change colors.
Oh, yes.
You have lots of great days of crisp, cool air where it's just cold enough that you put on a sweater, but it's not like you have to bury yourself in a jacket.
Right.
You get to step outside and you get to feel the sun on your face,
Yes.
look at the gorgeous landscape that is around you.
He's
Objection, Your Honor.
leading him down a path.
I'll allow some leeway overruled at this point. Let's
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you know that you only have so many days in your life to do that, so you treasure those moments, right?
Yes.
Please understand I'm a father, so I can't imagine what it's like for you. I'm not going to ask you to think about that, but you said that you respect Matthew Terry.
Yes.
Did you know Kay Baker?
No. Personally, no.
Okay. Did he ever talk about her?
No. Not to me.
He never said, gosh, there's this girl I love. I'm crazy about her. I can't wait to spend my life with her.
Objection.
overrule.
This is outside the scope of direct.
Overrule.
You ever say something like that?
Not to me.
Thank you, sir.
Redirect.
Nothing further.
May this witness be released by the defense
Yes.
See,
and the state?
what he did there, and Matthew might want to comment on that. I think the power of that line of questioning is what he did not ask. He led up to something. It was an obvious question, but did not ask it. But in the jury's mind, they put those two things together. They led up to, they're connected to this other father who had a child, who lost a child unexpectedly because of Matthew. And he just left it hanging there, and it was more impactful in my mind that he didn't ask that next question to say, how would it be, how do you think he felt, or that was very clever. I think that's expert level attorney work right there. Great prosecutor work. He asked without asking. Yep. That was neat. And he also has the benefit of not looking like the bad guy in the line of questioning. Because sometimes, I mean, even like we saw it with Zach and the Daryl Brooks trial, right? Where he had to ask the mom of the 4 kids, and I don't remember her name right off the top of my head. It'll come to me in a minute. Anyway, the mom of the 4 kids that were injured, the one that Daryl Brooks called to the stand, he asked her hard questions. I mean, he was digging in the wound type thing. In that case, it was like, at first, it's like almost revolting. It's like, whoa, why are you doing this? You know, we hurt for her so badly already. With every answer, we're like, please make it stop type of thing. But at the same time, that was very impactful. I think had the prosecution in this case, with this father who was testifying on Matthew Terry's behalf, gone ahead and tried to pry and really dug at him, he would look like the bad guy. You've already got a terrified witness that the jury can relate to, right? They can sit there and they can feel how uncomfortable he is. It was perfect. Yeah. Matthew Harris says, you're absolutely correct. You don't ask one question too many. You save that conclusion for your closing statement. Ask the ingredients of a cake. Don't ask to admit if it's a cake. So that was phenomenal. That was probably the highlight of what I've seen so far this morning. We've got about an hour before I've got to take the family and run
Our morning
uptown.
break. It's 10:15, so we'll take our morning break. Please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Please do not do any research related to the case, and please avoid any contact with anything about the case. All rise for the jury. Please have a nice break.
Katrina, yeah, the female defense attorney, probably her style seems to be very confrontational. I can't imagine her playing that role that we just saw from the prosecutor. She's very good, though. I don't doubt she would be able to do it, but that's not the role she's playing in this trial. He listens to the headphones anytime there's a sidebar with the judge. When they say maybe we approach, the prosecution and defense goes up to the judge and they discuss things with the judge outside the hearing of the jury, but the defendant has the right to hear what's happening.
You need a break.
So he puts his headphones on. There's a microphone right in between all those people at the judge's bench, and he can hear what's happening. So that's what's in the headphones. He'll only put them on during those sidebar discussions. The judge likes an hour to 2 hour breaks. He does break it up nicely. I think that's important, especially in cases that just drag on and on. It's important for the jury to be alert, to be awake, to not just feel like it's just the monotony is boring on them. And I think he's done a good job in keeping up that rapport with the jury. The jurors are. He has them on their mind. He say, "Hey guys, I'm thinking of you guys. You know, we want to. You need a break. Is there anything you need? You know." He's done a good job throughout this whole case. Tiffany says, recovery addicts, I don't know how I can watch this without you. You'll be missed. I'll be back. I will tell you, last night when I was supposed to be studying up for today and I didn't get to the Matthew Terry video, I got a notice on my phone that we had a police chase. I'm like, oh man, I literally had just crawled into bed. Right, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I just crawled into bed, and I got a buzz on my phone that there's a police chase, a live police chase, and I pull it out. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, it's out of L.A. Got this white car, which is easier to follow for the helicopter, and it's zipping around, and I couldn't see any police cars behind it. It was just being followed by the helicopter. I'm like, should I run downstairs? Should I flip on the lights? Should we go live and follow this? And right as I decided, okay, let's do this. The car stopped and everyone bailed. They just went every which direction. And the helicopter followed one with the light and then went over, followed another with the light. And they just ran. And then the helicopter just drove away. I'm like, oh, chase is over. Don't know what happened. The police didn't show up ever. But we almost went live last night with a police chase. I do want to do that. I keep those notifications on and watch for them if it says police chase. We'll have special artwork on the thumbnail as well, courtesy of Stephen Lee, to let you know it's a Recovery Addict Police Chase edition. But that's what happened last night. You're the hot spot in Canada. Is Canada warm today right now? Did you send us your cold air and you got the hot air? Someone chained recovery addict to the chair so he can't escape. There are no bailiffs here. I will make my escape. I am addicted 100%. I love this. I really do. I cannot tell you how excited I am at the end of every stream, just like having had this conversation with you, just the dialogue, the back and forth, what I've learned, what's still going on in my mind as I'm still, mulling over the testimony and the upcoming events. It's crazy. Woohoo! Yep. Stephen Lee, amazing art. And I think I've got another. I haven't transferred it yet, so just one second. I think I've got another artwork from you that I need to pull. Sent me a photo. Yes, it's the burner phone. It's the burner phone. I think there might be another one too. I've got so much. I don't know. Oh yeah, the QR code. I'm not sure if I can use the QR code. Honestly, Stephen Lee, I'm not sure what the rules are, and I have to research it first on the terms of use for live streams that have QR codes in them. I know on TikTok specifically, I'm not allowed to. You can't have any video that has a QR code in it. I do realize it would make things easier, but I think in time, hopefully here in about a week or so, we might be able to be monetized, and that might alleviate the problem of having people been able to link if they do want to support the channel. So I probably won't use the QR code here, but there was great artwork with a pickle jar that's labeled for tips, as well as a sandwich with pickles on it, and I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Burner phone, I need to transfer that one. That guy. I have not yet seen, nor do I want to see, any art regarding Stephen Lee's big hairy toes. I've heard it's out there. Some of you may have seen it, but so far I've been spared that. Abby says, wait, Matthew Harris. Matthew Harris made me a bailiff. You swore him in. You swore Abby in as a bailiff? Well, at least you're across the pond. I think I can get away before you get here. Tag says, calm down before you forfeit your right to be present, and we'll place you in the other room while we continue. I will give you guys all directions on how to follow this. Obviously, it won't have the same community we have here as far as the chat goes, but send pictures to Recovery Addicts burner phones. Some of us are banned from Twitter. Hey, bans happen. I mean, it's I've been there. Ashley, what have I missed today? Not much. We just wrapped up a little bit about DB getting his sentence. Talked a tiny bit about him. He's got about 1,000+ years that he's going to be serving up in Milwaukee area, I believe. That started yesterday, and we did talk a little bit about Judge Darrow's schedule today. I think she's got some professional engagements today where she's speaking at an event or something like that, and probably receiving an award. But she also has a case coming up in January, and I think it's you know how every case sort of has its own name. Like this Matthew Terry case is sort of also known like the math teacher murder because he killed a third grade math teacher. We had the extreme skier case over in Arizona. Well, the case that we're really looking at that will be in Judge Darrow's courtroom is the eye drop murder. And it's someone who killed a friend or an acquaintance using eye drops. So that's one we're looking forward to. We're hoping that all the video feeds are lined up. They don't have their own broadcast network there, so we're going to rely on a media pool for that one, which might limit us. But we're definitely going to try to keep an eye on that one. I'd love to see her in action in a case that doesn't have a sovsit acting in their own defense. Does Mrs. R.A. share your obsession with true crime? No, 100% not. But she loves analysis of people. She's a people watcher like me. She likes to look at their behavior. She likes to see why they're doing what people do. So in that she likes it, but she's not a big fan of the gory details. Did you get my messages on the burner phone? Says Laura. I got so many messages on the burner phone. Which which one are you referring to? I've got so many to catch up with. I need to transfer all these for our weekend recovery show, so we can share all the pictures. I've got sunsets, I've got pets, we've got food, we've got all sorts of creations. Who was the one that brought up the jail call? Golden Mom says, I haven't been able to find this either. If somebody does have information, I'm not sure if there's actually a recording out there, or if it's just like a report. Either way, I'd love to know what happened with this jail call. The jail call in question was Matthew Terry to his father immediately after the verdict. That's what we're hearing. Supposedly there was something out there, and I'd love to, if somebody finds that, if you can link it. Golden Mom's been trying to chase it down, a couple others as well, but we'd love to find out what that was. Stephen Lee's put his Twitter handle, Messy Sketcher, up there in chat. Do go check it out. He's got some great artwork, and he's a friend of the program here. Has provided a great deal of artwork here that we utilize, and has been kind enough to do that at no expense to the channel. So thank you so much. Please show him some support and some love. I guess I'd better make that appointment to get my snow tires on. Yikes! Is snow in the forecast for you guys? It's not that cold here. It's 45 degrees. I mean, so it's not. I mean, it's not hot, but. Ann says, Recovery Addict, are you doing a stream tonight? I want to. I've got a meeting. So if I do a stream, it will be very late or sort of dinner time-ish. Because I've got a meeting that starts at 7 that I've agreed to be to. And it'll probably go about an hour and a half-ish. If I could work around then, I will, but I don't sit by your phone. Don't sit by the computer and wait for it. It won't be long either way, because we've got, I'm going to need to sleep sometime. Stephen Lee, I don't have Twitter. Can you get a YouTube account? Dara for president, she's got my vote. She could pretty much run for office and win. She's done a phenomenal job. Tomorrow is Friday. No Pants Friday. Is that a thing? No Pants Friday? I'm not sure if you guys know this, but I don't wear pants unless I'm like in church or something. I'm a shorts guy. I know that sounded really bad the way that came out at first. I'm a shorts guy. Even with my long sleeves on today, I'm wearing shorts because I'm in North Carolina and the weather here is perfect all year round. We get a very brief snow in my part of the state, and it lasts for a day or two, and then it's gone. Let's see. Having said that, we'll probably get dumped on this winter. Let's see who else has anything. Stephen Lee says, I have a YouTube, but I only put 2 drawing videos. That'd be cool to see how you draw, Stephen Lee. I like to see the process as it unfolds on the page or on the screen, depending on the medium you draw on. Toxic, 100% correct. The information on that eyedropper case, Toxic has added it to the list over on Discord. Join the Discord, say hello there in chat, and learn the rules a little bit. I know there are a few rules, and Discord can be like really confusing as soon as you join. There's a video that Abby's posted a couple times. If you watch chat, usually she'll share it a couple times when we talk about Discord. That'll sort of give you a Discord 101, just a brief explanation of how it works, and it's phenomenal. I do want to say thank you. I had a lot of people purchase mugs yesterday, and even got a donation through PayPal for the Pickle Fund, and that means so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you guys. Even just being here is amazing, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, name of the eyedropper, Roxanne. It is a tough name. Let me see if I can put it in chat here for you. Come on. Doesn't want to copy from there. Everything, everywhere I can see it is in a link. So give me just 1 second. Okay, got it. Someone's probably going to beat me to it, but I've gone to all this work, so I'm not going to stop now, right? Okay, so this is how it appears in Discord. Let's see if somebody beat me. I'm scrolling through chat. I was so far behind. Okay. Yep, everyone beat me. Amber, Exodus, Golden Mom. Yeah, that's the case that we're looking for, that Judge Darrow is going to preside over. And it sounds intriguing. First of all, it's a unique type. I mean, it's a murder case, right? But it's unique in that, and it was used an eyedropper. And we'll have to find out more details. There is information there on the Discord. Jump over there, join up, say hello. It's well worth it. There's so much information there. They do a great job over there. Okay. Tag says, yeah, I sent my half-eaten pizza as a tribute to Judge Abella. Right, I saw that. I also saw some feet up on the couch watching the show. I appreciate that one as well. We'll share that picture on Saturday in the Weekend Recovery. The eye drop murder is about to see clearly. Actions have consequences. That guy, bum, bum, bum. Or we need like a rim shot type. Good. That was almost a dad joke. Erica Patterson did a recent interview. It's on YouTube. Yeah, it has to be edited because she doesn't hold back, and she's just not a fan of Darrell Brooks. I watched that. Thank you for sending the link. I forget who sent that to me, but I think I thanked you earlier. I'm trying to remember what email I sent you. Says to me, I don't think I sent one, but I've slept since then. Debbie, I will look. I think you sent me something on the burner phone, which anyone is able to do if they want to reach out to me in any capacity. The burner phone is the best way to do it. Yep, I got it. Things I've made, Abby. I've got that one. I got some pictures of things you've made, and they are amazing. You guys, if you want to see some skill in artwork as far as crocheting and just cuteness and everything, we've got a lot. Debbie says, take a day off, recovery addict. You deserve. I'm going to take a half day, Debbie, half day. You guys will have to fill me in on what we miss afterwards. Meetings are totally overrated. Most of them can be done virtually. This one, luckily, is. Maybe I can like set up an extra monitor and I can be in my meeting, all white shirt and tie and proper in the meeting, and then also live streaming. Or maybe I can just like do a freeze picture on there, and I don't know. Do you think I could pull that off? No pants. Yep, that's how we roll. Still shorts as well. I love shorts, man. It's I don't know why I'd switch back. The weather here is just phenomenal. If you ever come to visit, you'll see why. That's why Abby is fainting. Pants in the UK is underwear, so it sounds wrong. Okay, so I would say no slacks or jeans. Is that better? Or no trousers? I wear shorts. The subtle differences between our two languages, to all the UK fans and those here in the US, are going to get me in trouble because I will slip up. Even having lived over in England for a few years, I still forget sometimes. MM Jones, I am on Discord, but I have to admit that channel belongs entirely to Toxic and Lil Miss, and I think there might be some other people that are helping over there. Toxic built this just on her own, as far as I know. This is just pursuing her passion, her dream, and her love for everything true crime. And she was kind enough to invite members of the channel here into her Discord. So this is not my Discord, but I endorse it wholeheartedly. It's wonderful. I could not build anything equal or better in any realm. There's the number for the burner phone, 801-513-1160. And what we can do, obviously, this burner phone, if we connect in a way, like for instance, Matthew Harris and I connected initially over the burner phone. What I can do is I can save your number on the burner phone, and I can give you special privileges that get past the automatic voicemail that allow you to reach us even when we're on Do Not Disturb. And then if you've proven yourself, as he has, we can open up the possibility to you joining over through voice live on the channel. So you'd be able to join me. I'd be able to just hit the volume button over here and bring your live phone call onto the air, and we could talk about it, all the things that interest us and what's going on live. So that's another feature of the burner phone we haven't used a lot, but let's see. Matthew says, I wish I had our live stream setup completed. This would be a perfect opportunity to pass over to us while you go take care of business. I know, Matthew. I think I was doing it wrong. What I was looking at is passing my live stream to your live stream. But if you're not live streaming or you don't have a planned live stream set up, it won't let me. I will have to work on like an end card, but I have to do it before I go live. Basically, Matthew Harris has a specific video I want to share with you guys, and we'll get it set up here soon to pass it over. I'd love for you guys to just take the 2 or 3 minutes to watch this video. It's extremely informative. It's very relevant to the things we're talking about, and I think you guys will love it, and you'll quickly get a feel for why I'm such a big fan of him and his channel and what he does over there. But we'll get that set up for another stream. Okay, MB has the pronunciation guide, which I will need daily because I forget everything. Oh, Judge is back. Hang on.
And I understand that. So.
Otherwise, you'd have to do it again.
So
Wish these guys could be changed to the microphone.
But I'd rather do it with one. Let's just go ahead and get the jury and get this witness. I'll take a break. I'll take another break after this witness.
I'm sorry, did you want to address the issue about them recalling? Because we obviously would want to end with our witness, since this is supposed to be mitigation. And
We can
then
talk about
the
that
end.
now.
Okay, so this will be
Did you find
interesting.
cases?
Camera down, please.
I've looked at the
Cameraman.
entire country. There have only been 2 cases that mention the state even requesting something so extraordinary as reopening during the penalty phase, and in both cases, it was denied. There's no discussion of why. I can't give you specific law on the reasonings. I can just tell you, if you'd like the cites, there were 2 cases that it was denied.
I'd love to see
No,
Matthew
we
Matthew
didn't find any Florida
Harris's.
cases where it was, well, we didn't find any Florida cases where it was even asked for, but didn't find any Florida cases to indicate that it had been done. So
Matthew Harris's
to our
take on
knowledge,
this.
It's never been done.
Basically, the
before is
prosecution
kind of where
forgot
we're at,
to
but I
bring
don't know
in
the
some
details.
evidence. It went over to the defense's time. They'd rested, and then they're like,
What
wait,
does the state
can we have another bite at the
Judge,
apple?
the issue regarding the state or the defense reopening their cases generally is within the
Discretionary.
broad-
Yeah. So it probably can be done. But
This
I
judge
think
is not like
that
treading on new
The
ground.
issue is clear that it's never. There's no indication that it has been done, and I trust Ms. Perry. Ms. Perry is one of the best researchers.
I will second that.
That I've seen. Also a good attorney, but the research is impeccable, and I trust her as an officer of the court. That in 2 cases in the entire country where it was requested, the court exercised its discretion to disallow it.
But Judge, under Florida law, this court has broad discretion no matter what the
I have the
proceedings-
discretion. I have the discretion. The issue is how I exercise that discretion.
Right.
This judge will not-
In cases where
Especially in a
the
death
cases
penalty case.
make clear under page 779.
He's not going to go there. There's no way he's going to allow them to have another bite of the apple here.
Now, read the cases, or it's clear in the cases, a very short version. As long as it is a
Some
timely
great
request,
videos, Matthew.
as long as there is a reasonable explanation for the request, it doesn't relate to any new or different information being additional information, but it doesn't change the facts of the case, then the cases in Florida are that both on the state side and on the defense side, under those circumstances, cases have been reversed when the court did not exercise the discretion to do it. So it is completely permitted and reversible error if it's not permitted.
I'm not sure if
it's a
that's a
timely
solid
request
argument.
and there's
Whether
a
you reversed
reasonable
because they weren't
explanation
admitted?
for it. And so I'd just like to put the reasonable explanation forward on the record, if I may.
Because prosecution doesn't appeal and not
As
guilty.
the court recalls, and I repeated it this morning, we were about to introduce the transcript of the trial
I
testimony
still have the
of
transcript right here.
Kay Baker. and we had a long discussion and argument about that, and the court's final decision was, look, I'm not going to introduce the transcript, but I will permit the state to introduce the fact that the defendant, that Kay Baker, traveled to Michigan and testified on behalf of the defendant in the 2017 case involving Michelle Rogers.
I remember it well.
And so what happened was, that's the way it was settled, that's what was done. Opening statements began. Mr. Diaz made reference to that fact, and at that very moment, Mr. Kane asked to approach the bench. At the very moment he talked about that, there was a long discussion at the bench.
But they had time after that.
I presumed it was a discussion about the matter that Mr. Diaz had just brought up. I thought that issue had been resolved. I thought that's what was discussed, because that's what had been agreed upon by the parties. The parties agreed upon that.
My recollection is that Mr. Kane's objection was that he had exceeded what the agreement was as to what was going to come in, and I overruled the objection and I allowed him to continue.
So I presume that matter resolved. I presume that was the agreement that we had reached in the parties. That's all we're at. So this has been a timely request. That's all we're asking for, is that single question be asked or it be stipulated to. And the state submits that's not an unreasonable, and the ends, as the cases in Florida require, it is an abuse of discretion if this court deprives the jury of information.
Which one's the father?
Which will deprive the jury of information important to the ends of justice. We submit that this evidence is important. We submit that the parties have already agreed upon it. This was a change in the dynamics of how this evidence was going to be presented, because the court withdrew that transcript. We didn't plug it in. I didn't remind Mr. Diaz about we needed to reassert that in the last question of the prosecutor. That's what happened. So I do appreciate your allowing me to put that on the record. We think the ends of justice require that the court allow that single question, which had been agreed to, be allowed.
He's arguing hard for
before
this,
jury. They've
but
already been told.
precedence, I think, is what's going to hold.
Judge, the
will sway the
requirements
judge.
are not reasonable explanation. It's good cause, and then forgetting is not good cause. That is not legal.
I think she's right.
The cases that they talk about in Florida have to do when the defense has requested to reopen.
Right.
And things need to get put in for a proper due process procedural defense, not in regard to the state. If they have a case
That's talking about
been
the
reversed where
appeals.
the state wasn't allowed to reopen, I would love to see it. I'm sure that they don't.
They don't.
We do.
Additionally,
There's
it
no
would
way.
not be in the penalty phase, because as this court is well aware, death is different. And there has never once
Death
in
is different.
Florida
I like that.
been a state allowed to reopen a penalty phase in a death penalty case. And now they're trying to use non-death penalty case law, which is inapplicable because, again, death is different, and that is a legal standard that applies only to death penalty cases. There isn't one where this extraordinarily unusual request has been ever granted, and it shouldn't be done for the first time here.
What is the case that you said you have?
I think that's what's going to sway the judge the most,
Judge, there's,
is that this is new territory.
there's
He
a
knows this will
case
be
of
reviewed
Ellis.
on appeal. And he doesn't want to be the one
Is this
who's...
the one where the prosecution asked and it was a abuse of discretion to not allow it?
Yeah, it is.
Ellis, what's
Yeah.
the site?
491 Southern 2nd, 1206. That is one case.
Well, I just want the one
That
you,
didn't come up,
they
I'm
said,
sorry. Give the site again, that's coming up.
491 Southern 2nd, 1296.
Ms. Perry said she'd like to see a case, and you said there is one. Is that the case where she said she'd like to see one where the state requested and it was reversed as an abuse of discretion to deny the state the opportunity.
Ginger, this is really
And the
technical,
second,
but
BW versus state.
what happened is the prosecution, while they were presenting evidence as to why that Matthew Terry should get the death penalty, they had some evidence they wanted to present. It was discussed at a sidebar. The two sides agreed on how much the judge would allow, and the judge agreed. They went to present it. There was an objection from the defense while they were presenting it, and the judge overruled the objection.
That was a motion to
And then the prosecution just forgot to continue. They forgot to introduce that. They said, we're done, turn it over to the defense for mitigating. And then this morning they said, oh crap, guess what we forgot? Judge, can we go back? Can we interrupt their mitigation and reintroduce?
Not going to allow.
And he says, no. Nope, not going to do it. So,
If I could have a moment, I'm going to step outside and tell the witness she's free to go.
Okay.
hey, you guys are amazing. I
Hard lesson,
just
but,
received
what I've
a
told
little
my
donation on
prosecutors in the
PayPal.
past in,
Thank you.
lesson
Not a little,
cases,
a big
they
donation on
prove
PayPal.
ID
Thank
or
you so much
identity or,
for your contribution
venue
here.
in the case,
I love doing this, and
probably won't
it
happen
touches
again.
my heart that you guys want to help out and make the channel better and continue on. So thank you. I really do appreciate everything you guys do here. Just being here is enough, by the way. Just being here, just doing what you're doing in chat and bringing your questions and your insights is enough. But thank you so much to those that go above and beyond. Love you all. Off to bed. Recovery addict, take joy in your work. For the needy today, it's an awesome privilege to help another. Hey, Stephen, thank you. I appreciate your help. You've really been amazing. I know you easily could charge good money for what you do, and volunteering to give that to me for free is very appreciated. How much do we think Terry paid for her? She's a really great closing defense attorney. I'm assuming she cost a pretty penny. I believe so. Maybe Matthew Terry could give us just ballpark idea for defense attorney costs. Generally, there are hourly rates, but it's not going to be cheap. It's not cheap at all. I still have Hobbit feet stuck in my head. It's as bad as an earworm song. Yep. Maybe the image in your head is worse than the actual image, Katrina. Maybe we have to just go ahead and take a look at Stephen's artwork and just see if it's worse or better than what we imagine. Whoa. Are you serious, Golden Mom? That she's a public defender?
Are we ready? I'm sorry. Mr. Diaz, say it ready?
Yes, sir.
Defense ready?
Is she acting as a public defender right now? I mean, she is public defender in this case? Because I think he has assets. I'd have a hard time imagine. Well, I guess he's been in jail for a while. Maybe if this is a public defender, this is the best public defender I've ever seen. The amount of research and time she's put into this case, I don't know how she's doing it. You've seen the public defenders that have been burned through on the Sarah Boone case, and possibly going through another one with the latest letter we heard from her to the judge. That would floor me if she was a public defender. Wow. Holy cow. Okay, so I'm not sure what he's looking at. It looks sort of like a comic book. Is that like a Cinderella type picture? The Flintstones? I don't know what that picture is. Can somebody see that? Let me see if I can blow it up here on my screen quickly before he turns the page. It does look like a comic book, like somebody crouching down. It's upside down. That is the weirdest picture. I don't know why they would have that picture on the cover, unless it was perhaps maybe just like a cover sheet so no one else can see what's going on. It looks like SpongeBob. Yeah, 3 years later. Abby, by public offender, do you mean she's free? Free to him. She gets paid still for her services, but it's paid out of tax dollars. When we watch when we go do like a Knox County initial appearances, the magistrate's view, That's when someone is judged as indigent, and they assign a public defender. This guy won the lottery of public defenders, if that's what happened for him. Okay, kids' pictures, printed family photos. Okay, that makes sense. Old lady in a shoe.
Kathy Terry.
Tish, I work for the public defender's office in my county. The specific
Miss
attorney I work
Terry,
for is
good
amazing
morning
and
and
research
welcome.
trained. Not all PDs are terrible.
If you'll come forward to be sworn,
That's
wherever
good
you're
to know.
comfortable, ma'am, if you'll
Good
face
to
me
know.
and raise your
We've
right
seen
hand.
some that
Please,
seem
thank you,
to
ma'am. That's
to
perfect.
do the minimum.
Do you swear or affirm any testimony you give
But
in
this
this
one has
proceeding
gone
will be
above
the
and
truth,
beyond.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
All right, thank you, ma'am. If you'll follow the bailiff now.
I'll just go out on a limb here
Please
and
watch your step, and
say
is
that
an
I don't
elevated
believe
ramp,
this is
so
an
please be
expert
careful.
witness as well. This is probably going to be a character witness.
When you get to that chair, go ahead, have a seat, make yourself
maybe his
comfortable.
mom.
That microphone in front of you is fully adjustable. When you're ready, you let me
He
know.
seems
and then
emotional.
I'm going to turn it over to the attorneys to ask you some questions.
He can't look at her.
And unfortunately, you got to get really close to that microphone. You got to pull up and then pull the microphone down.
He's not looking at her. It's his
I
mom.
think so. We'll let you know if we need to get you closer or talk louder.
Okay.
He does that move where he's like, boom, in position.
Morning, Ms. Terry.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
We
All
can't
right,
hear
may
you
have to
very
sit
well.
closer to the microphone so that everybody can hear you.
Now I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm gonna move closer.
Everyone, just stand in front of the microphone like this. See how I'm doing it? Do this. Talk into the microphone.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna probably
Ms. Terry, could you identify yourself, please?
only be able to stick around for this witness.
I am Mary Kathleen Terry. I'm Matthews Robertson Terry's mother.
Do you go by Kathy?
Yes.
Do you see Matthew Terry in the courtroom today?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you point him out for us? May the record reflect that Ms. Terry has identified her son.
Why is he not making eye contact with his mom?
How long have you been married, Kathy?
49 years.
Your husband is Mark.
Yes.
How many children do you have?
3 boys.
What are their names?
Matthew Robertson Terry, Luke Douglas Terry, and Peter Reynolds Terry.
Where does everybody live right now?
Luke and Peter live in Okemos, Michigan.
Is that pretty close to East Lansing?
It's about 8 miles.
Not too far.
No.
And have you lived in Michigan your entire life?
Yep. Yes.
Well, we've also heard from some friends of yours. You know Ben and Ruby?
Yes.
And they came down with you all?
Yes.
How
Today
long have you
only.
guys been friends?
Let's see, probably 47 years.
So pretty much as long as Matt's been alive, you guys have been friends with the Williams.
Yes.
You know? And over the years, you guys have lived in different parts of the state, haven't you?
Yes.
And what parts of Michigan have you lived in?
East Lansing originally. Then we moved to Detroit, Wixom area. And then we moved up to our cottage in Holton, Michigan on Big Blue Lake.
Do you still have that cottage?
Yes,
You still visit it from time to time?
all the time. I'm there most of the summer.
When you guys visit up there, do you have an opportunity to see Steve and Debbie Glassner?
Yes.
How long have you all been friends with them?
Probably 30 years.
You know, tell us a little bit about, you know, raising 3 boys relatively close in age up there in Michigan. How was that?
Lots of fun, an adventure, a whirlwind at times. I was from a family of 3 girls, so 3 boys were a a challenge at times too, but we had lots of fun, lots of activities. And I guess I just learned how to sort of get down on a boys type of level.
Michigan sounds like a fun place
I'm
as a kid.
Show you some pictures if that's okay. I know the actually, Donna, can you do that for me?
Do you want to show them to her first?
Yes.
I have no objection to introduction.
I will do that then.
And these weren't previously introduced. If you
Defense
wanna move them
1A
in-
through T as in tango.
No objection from the state?
No objection.
They'll be admitted, defense 1A through T.
Thank you, Donna.
I believe that's screen enough.
If you can, there's a remote or deputy sales.
I'm going to readjust, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And Kathy, if you want to position yourself so that you can see the screen behind you. And if you want to adjust your chair so you're more comfortable and not twisted, there you go.
So on cross,
Is that more comfortable?
is the prosecution going to ask that? Are they going to focus on her disappointment?
That way so you don't have to keep turning your head back and forth, it'll slide. So you slide it towards to your left.
So is she turning away from him?
Yeah, there we go. There he goes. Does it reach? I'm going to take the tape off. Oh, we have, okay. There we go. Okay. Can't do that.
You can slide it though, and you can adjust it, and then that way you might not have to keep turning your head back.
Imagine his mom looking at him, sees right through the front he sets up. And that's why he can't maintain eye contact.
Kathy, can you tell us about this picture? This is 1A. And what's happening here? And who was in this picture?
Good morning, Alexander.
That's me and Matthew at his grandmother Barb's
We're not
house
seeing the picture.
in Grosse Pointe.
The video
And
cut out
It must have been
here.
Christmas time. How it works.
There's no video coming in from the. There's back.
If you can recall, what year was that?
Probably 1976.
So Matt would have been about 1.
Yes.
Yeah, what's he going to ask? What's going to ask on the cross? Is he going to be as gentle as he was
Who's
with
in this
that
picture?
the neighbor?
This is one.
Mark and my husband Mark and Matt.
And you remember what the occasion was here?
Well, it looks like a birthday party. And Dad's helping Matt blow out the candle.
About how old is Matt in this picture?
He's probably about around 2.
That's what
Was
the
this East
number on the
Lansing?
cake says, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And 1C coming up.
Oh, God.
And who's in this picture?
This is Matthew.
About how old was he and where was this picture taken, if you can recall?
So all this is
I believe
doing
it was
is in the jury's mind. They're trying to show the side of Matthew that they haven't seen in this trial, because all they've heard about Matthew in this trial is the
Jewish.
crime he's accused of committing, and all the information surrounding that, how he was found, what happened, what he did. So now they're trying to build a bigger picture. They're trying to say, here's the side you don't know. This
Matt
is
and
his
his
upbringing.
brother
This is
Luke.
his family. This
And
is
they were at,
make him human, right? Because it's very hard
Barb's
when you feel a
house
connection
playing
with
the
somebody to
piano.
say, yeah, they deserve death. And so
Luke's
they're
probably
gonna draw this out. It'll probably get emotional,
One-ish,
um,
maybe 18 months. Matt's
but that's the
probably
whole purpose. It looks like someone's been
2.5
cut out of that
3.
picture up on the top. Maybe another face that wasn't family members or something.
1E.
Can you explain the sentencing phase more? This seems like a lot more drawn out or different than DB's sentencing phase. It is.
Mark is on the right.
First of all, this one is in front of a
Matthew,
jury
Mark's
instead of just the
mother,
judge,
me,
because this is a
and
death penalty case in Florida. This is how it's done.
I believe
What year?
The defense right now is presenting
probably
mitigating testimony. This is basically to equate this to what happened in the DB case. this would be the
and
20
it's
plus
probably in
people
Grosse Pointe,
that DB
Michigan.
said he'd have talk for him, which didn't show up. He didn't bring anyone to court. He could have had information like this. He could have had his family pictures. He could have had his mom tell about, what he was like when he was, in Boy Scouts or 4-H or anything else he did, what he did in school, athletics.
Far right
All
is,
those things can be brought in at
my
this
nephew Cody,
point.
my son Peter,
DB only had
Kenzie
3 people,
Williams,
2 people, I think,
Matthew,
that spoke for him, and then spoke himself. So his was shorter there,
Yeah,
but it's
so I
the
guess
same.
that
It's
name goes.
equivalent.
Probably
And
Cody,
that's
my other
what's
nephew.
happening right now. Once this is over,
Yes.
they
And we are at
there will be
my mother's
the
house,
closing argument from
kitchen,
the defense, and
having a
then
cookie
it goes to the
decorating
jury,
party,
and the
which
jury
we
decides
did
what the
every
sentence
year,
is.
and
And it's
invited
basically a
all
coin
our-
toss. They have 2 choices:
all the boys'
either
friends,
death penalty
and
or life in prison without
decorated
parole.
cookies over there. The family tradition.
And
It's upstairs.
you had talked earlier about how
We got
close
Mrs.
you were
Recovery
to
Addict here in the room with me,
Williams,
so that's who I'm
your children,
talking to off camera.
was close with the Williams children.
Yes, and they still are lifelong friends. I mean, they're still like they were back then.
And this is 1G.
G.
This is Matt and one of his young cousins, and we were at his grandma Barb's house in Grosse Pointe.
One H.
This is Matt and my mother up at the cottage.
Is
And
it-
I don't know, they were discussing something, I'm sure. My mother had something going on she wanted to know about.
When you say that, is that Grandma Barb?
This is Grandma Leo, my mom.
Leo, I'm sorry.
I wonder if they have any pictures of Matt between when he attacked the first person
Very
and he killed the
close.
second.
Very close, both to my mom and my dad. They only lived 6 blocks away, so we were there probably 5 times a week. So we could walk right over.
Coffee Mom, my wife's channel,
How long ago did she pass?
she does believe that
Passed in 2001.
religious beliefs should be included in
And
education,
about what year would this
but
picture
it doesn't need to be a specific one. Just a general belief is part of teaching kids about being good. I mean, talk about relevance.
Probably
Matthew Terry was, hopefully raised to
98
have
maybe?
some beliefs, a belief system,
97.
and taught to do what was right. And
Not
that's
long
my
after
wife believes in
Matt
doing
got out
that
of
as
the
well.
Marine Corps.
Right. Yes.
But her system, her homeschool system is unique. She's designed it sort of herself and pieced together the pieces that are important for our family and for the kids and their needs. But do check out her channel, Coffee Mom, if you're curious, and ask her
This is
questions.
Matthew and
She's
his
happy to
son,
answer for you.
Lachlan.
Okay.
In the top right picture is Matt.
Not sure why they put that one sideways.
With his 2 nieces, Olivia on the top and Addie, and Lachlan in his lap, and they're all looking at something on the telephone. We were at a get together over at my other son's house.
Weather Watch, I think you're right. Death penalty is a tough bar to achieve.
Darling.
I'm not sure if they're going to get there.
This is 1J.
This would be Matthew and Olivia, one of my granddaughters, at
These are all the pictures of people he didn't
at Grandma
stab.
Barb's house.
If they put a picture up of him with the girlfriend he did stab on accident, I would just
Probably.
lose it. That would be bizarre.
I'm not sure of the date on that one. But Olivia, that would have been probably 18 years ago.
Dude's been using hair gel for decades. I think he's a Dapper Dan man, personally.
That's Matthew graduating from high school in our backyard in East Lansing.
That was 1993.
Yep. Yes.
One Lima.
I do have to go soon. I'm looking at the clock. Here's what I'll say. Go to.
This is my
I think Law and Crime probably has the
Uncle
best
Charlie
feed
on the
on
right
this
and bottom, and my cousin
on this case
Kate
right now. There are some local
and
channels as well that
my
are carrying it,
son
but some of
Luke
those are interrupting and doing commercials
on
and
the
things like
right,
that.
and my son Peter.
Here's what I'll say.
in the middle, and Matt
As
on
I
the
turn
left.
them down a little bit, as we're
My
just
son
looking at
Luke
family
lives in
pictures for a while.
Chicago, and Peter and
I don't know if I'll be
This is
back
when
on
I
today.
stopped by.
Usually, every time I say I won't be back
They
on,
visit
something
me
amazing
around
happens, and I say I got to go live. I got to talk about this. So there's a chance. There's always a chance that it's surprise. I'm back. But barring that, it's going to be a busy afternoon and evening for me. So we can plan on for sure tomorrow morning. Will be Friday, the weekend edition. Prior to the weekend recovery on Saturday, but we'll be back both those days.
Josh, Luke, Matt, and my
This is the last picture prior to his first stabbing. I love this narration arc.
St. John Virgin Islands.
I'm curious. I want to stick around. I'm going to keep watching the feed, even if I have to drop off the live here, and send you guys off to another channel to watch this. I'm curious how the prosecution will handle this, if they'll ask the hard questions of her and about what he turned into and how she feels about it.
One N.
Are they going to go as gentle on the mom as they did on the neighbor? Abby, you have a wonderful day as well. Matthew Harris, apparently my internet provider doesn't have bandwidth today to upload our new video by lunch while watching the live stream. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully you get fiber to your house soon. Coffee Mom says, recovery addict, appreciate your volunteerism. It's a great example of community. Hey, there are opportunities everywhere. Find a way that you can help, especially around these holiday seasons. Even if you don't celebrate these holidays, this is a time that a lot of people have a lot of need, and it's great to just reach out and help a couple people. If we all do that, it makes the world a much better place. Discord is open. Yes, please go there as well. Don't hesitate to pop over there once we drop off here. Hopes everyone has a lawful law day. We have to find some merch that plays off lawful law.
I'm trying to think how old Addie was
Okay.
probably. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's not really charity work. We just want to help out a little bit. You know, we've. I think most of us have been, whether it be growing up or different times in our life, have been on the receiving end of someone else helping us out. I know I have, and being in a position where I can then return some of that. It's not so much paying it forward as is paying it back. And I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by just some good people throughout life that have really been there for me when things weren't going as good as I would have hoped. And
Some of the folks that
and maybe in a small way I get to be that for somebody else. And so it's not a big thing. It's not. I mean, a couple hours is not much. I should do much more. Anyway, you guys are amazing. I hate to do this, but it is time. It is time for us to step off. According to Tampa Bay, Donna Perry is an assistant public defender. Amazing. Ashley, that is incredible. And Tish, you're saying we've got some good ones out there, and she clearly is one of them. Probably one of the best that with the judge's recommendation. Court TV has a live feed. Yes, Court TV will have one. Law and Crime should have it. If I do happen to, for some reason, be able to come back and jump online, if you do subscribe and ring the bell, you'll get a notification, hopefully, as long as, let's see, who has the internet today? I forget who has the internet. Make sure the notifications are working, whoever's responsible for that. It'll be good. It'll be good. All right. We're gonna leave on that picture. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. See you soon. Give everybody a hug, smile, Thank you for being here. Appreciate so much. I appreciate so much all you guys are doing for me through donations, through participation, through sharing, liking. It's wonderful. It really warms my soul. So appreciate it. Have a good day, everyone. Enjoy. Keep me up to speed when I get back. We're gonna have to do a quick catch up. Thanks a lot, guys.